You didn't have this water today. What's up, everybody?
Right. Another successful event.
Yep.
What are your overall thoughts?
I thought it was great. We kicked off really awesomely. I think we had, five finishes tonight? And then it kind of dipped a little bit, but Clay Collard and Alex Martinez obviously showed up and, ended the night on the high note. So, all in all, it was great. It was a good night.
Who did you have winning the main event?
I thought Clay did enough in the first 2 rounds to win that fight. Excuse me. The second round could have gone, either way, I think, because of Clay. In my opinion, Clay was winning that round, dropped him. But then with the minute and a half, I think Alex was able to reverse him, when they were on the ground. And then, honestly, I thought that was done. I don't know how Clay survived that because that choke looked deep, and so I thought it was done. But Clay ended up, weathering the storm and fought through it. And so, listen, we knew the fight was that close; it could have gone either way. So, but yeah, I thought Clay did enough to win the fight. That being said, it was a close fight anyway. So,
Is there a performance on the card that really stuck out to you?
I think all the finishers. Rob Wilkinson, fought well. I thought he came out and fought well in that fight. Omari obviously, fought hard until he got the finish. So, I think everybody that finished was kind of like the highlight of the night. Outside of the main event, of course. I was happy. All in all, I was happy with what everybody did tonight.
Josh Silveira had a very good PFL debut. I just want your thoughts on his performance.
Who's this?
Josh Silveira.
Oh yeah. No, and there's another one. He was able to finish his opponent. Unfortunately for Josh, because he wasn't able to do the first fight due to injuries and whatnot. So he doesn't make the playoffs. But I think number 5 and probably Josh will end up being an alternate. Obviously, knocking wood, nothing else. Happens to the other guys that are getting ready for the playoffs, or guys that have made the playoffs. But that's the thing about our sport, that anything can happen. You know what I mean? So, but no, I was very impressed because he kind of showed a more of a complete game this time round than when I saw him in the Challenger Series. So it was good to see.
I wanted to ask about Cory Hendricks. He didn't get a fight. What was the decision to leave him off of this card?
Well, because Pesta, we actually thought, it came down to the wire. We thought Pesta wasn't going to be cleared, but Saturday we get a phone call from the commission, or should I say, Jim got a phone call from the commission saying that if he's able to get his medicals in, that they're willing to clear him to fight, and so that's. But that's the tough part about being an alternate for the season is that, what happened. He was able to come in there, win a fight, and then he was off again because Pesta was cleared, and it couldn't be. It could have been anybody. You know what I mean? In that light heavyweight division, but yeah, it's unfortunate that he's in that spot. But that's the spot. He knew from day one that he was the alternate for the season, and if whatever happens. Again, Pesta could have been denied, approval to fight, and then he would have been in tonight. But that's the luck of the draw, I guess.
And one last thing, week 3, Carlos Leal, he was not listed on the fight card. I just want your thoughts on that.
Again, Carlos Leal is in the same spot as Cory. You know what I mean? And Cory, ended up with 5 points, and that could have easily, because if everybody was coming into the fights, with 3 points and whatnot, then Cory could have easily made the playoffs. But unfortunately, there were such high points and so many finishes in the light heavyweight division that it kind of pushed him out. Carlos Leal, very, very similar situation. He's the guy that won that fight. Unfortunately, he's the ultimate, and so the guy that he replaced gets that second opportunity to come back.
Do you ever sit back and look like Carlos beat your champion, so you should give him a spot in that, or it really doesn't really work like that? No,
it doesn't work like that, because then if we're gonna pick and choose, then what's the point of having a format? You know what I mean? So the format's a format, and to be fair to everybody, we have to stick to the rules. Yeah.
Ray, just to follow up on Cory real quick, he was in last season, so I was curious why he wasn't in this season at all, aside from the alternate spot, obviously.
I believe he won one, lost one, and the fight that he lost, I just didn't think he was ready to be in the season again, the way he lost. And, like everybody's tough when you get in there. But because of the way the format is set out, everybody's they're in there, they're hungry, they're trying to fight for that spot, you know what I mean? And so I just felt that he didn't have that hunger. And I could be wrong, but I didn't feel like he had that hunger in that fight itself, and so he ended up losing on a decision. So what I wanted to do was originally what I wanted to do was probably let him go, get some wins, and come back. But then we ended up, I think we kind of took a little bit longer than two. So I ended up, giving him the alternate spot, and he took it.
And you guys are getting ready to go international for the playoffs. So how exciting is that for you?
Oh, man, I'm super excited about that. I can't wait. So obviously, I'm sure you guys know that the first playoffs is in New York, and then Cardiff, Wales is the second, and London, England is the third. So it's really pleasing, when these things happen, because it just means that the PFL has continued to grow. And I think we're in about 160 countries around the world. And so when we continue to expand like that, and I think Pete touched it on one of the interviews, where we're looking to do PFL Europe as well next year. So, there's a lot of things that's in the works, and it's positive.
Any ideas for the championship you can share with us yet?
It's still in the works. It's getting close. So, it's in the works. That's all I can say about it right now.
Ray, we were calling Jeremy Stephens versus Clay Collard the PFL Fight of the Year. Now we're calling Clay Collard versus Alex Martinez the PFL Fight of the Year. So in your opinion, sitting here in June, which one is the PFL Fight of the Year?
I probably have to go with Stephens and Clay. Because that fight, I don't think we saw a little bit of the ground. And there was a back and forth fight in terms of these two toughness and whatnot, and but I mean, it's close. It's like really close.
Right. How'd you like being in Atlanta?
I mean, I like it. This first week we kind of got everybody. I think all the staff kind of got caught up with everything that needs to be prepared for the show tonight. But I think next week everybody's going to have a little bit of time to maybe go out and explore some things. And I got to go check out this. What do you call it? It's I it's not a fish tank. What do you call it? Aquarium. Yeah. I'm like, it's not a fish.
Big fish.
Yeah. So yeah, a big fish. Because my son is actually into the marine biologist stuff, and so I got to go check that out for him, because he's visiting family overseas. So, yeah.
Welcome to Atlanta.
Thank you.
Ray, the PFL is changing how MMA fans are consuming the sport with the season structure and the smart cage. Do you see a future where MMA judges have the same stats that the smart cage is giving fans in real time to use at their disposal?
I think that's a commission question. Obviously anything to do with the judges, referees, that's all on the commission. And until they say that they're willing to look at a few things, I couldn't really answer that question for them,
Have you thought at all about open scoring, or is that another commission question?
Again, that's another commission question. But I thought about open scoring. We talked about this in the beginning, way in the beginning, or maybe after our first year. But open scoring sometimes it can be a problem, because if one guy knows that he's going into 2 rounds and he's 2 rounds up, he might not fight. That he might kind of slow the fight down in the 3rd round, thinking that he's won the fight. That being said, that's also a mistake, because the other guy might be, hungry to try and finish that fight. So yeah, I'm in 2 minds about it. I think the less they know, the more they'll just stay focused on the fight and how they approach the fight. Like to go out there and try and finish the fight in every round.
In that same vein, do you have any thoughts about Anthony Pettis' mentality going in with the playoff spot already clinched?
Listen, I think Anthony, he's a fighter, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I think he's not gonna risk getting hurt or getting, submitted or getting knocked out by taking it easy. So I think, even though he kind of knows that he's there, I still think he's going to come out and try and win the fight and try and finish the fight. That's just the kind of fighter I think he is.
3 more questions.
The boss has spoken.
Obviously, you guys, after 2 more weeks here in Atlanta, you guys, New York, Wales, and London, like you said. Is there one you're looking more forward to than the others?
I'm always looking forward to the playoffs, because that's when you know who's going to make the finals. You know what I mean? So, and the fact that it's a cherry on top, the fact that it's actually in London and Wales, I think that's going to be exciting, because one, it's you can truly say that PFL is international, it's a global brand, if you will, and I've never been to Wales, so that's going to be exciting. So, I'm looking forward to all the playoffs. Of course, the first one's in New York, so.
And then, given the markets you guys are expanding into, and you say maybe there's a European division next year, are there other markets? Obviously you guys are probably working on things. Are there other markets you're looking to get into?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, I'm talking to people in Japan. So Asia is a big market for the sport. We've had some things go back and forth with Africa and whatnot. We want to be everywhere. And so, and of course, the more we grow the PFL, the more we also help grow the sport. And so it's positive in every way.
All good?
Thank you, gentlemen.